Welcome back to Birmingham, Alabama and the Barber Motorsports Park. Today was day 2 of the Honda Grand Prix of Alabama. I missed an Indy in there somewhere, but anyway, it doesn't matter. The name is, we're going to complain about the name for 3 days straight. Today was a much more active day. As I left you yesterday, I said that there was going to be no session before qualifying. That was incorrect. There was indeed a morning warm-up, but I think Alexander Rossi probably would have preferred that there was not. An accident in the final corner here at Barber Motorsports Park. It kind of, the back end slid out on him, and then the front end slid out on him, and then into the wall he went, tearing off the attenuator and also collecting Helio Castroneves with the debris. Now that started a thrash for Alexander Rossi's Napa Auto Parts Auto Nation team, and ultimately they were able to get the repairs completed to the gearbox and the rest of the car in time for qualifying. And that was the main story of today. A surprise pole sitter, well, maybe not so much of a surprise for some of you, but certainly one that a driver that we haven't seen much at the front recently. So without any further ado, let's look at the starting grid for the 2022 edition of the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama. First row, first position, Rinus VeeKay. What a fantastic lap from Rinus VeeKay, taking the pole position away from Pato O'Ward, who is the defending pole winner of this event and hadn't qualified in the Fast Six all year. He did it today. Alex Palou and Scott McLaughlin, two of the strongest drivers in the series in row number 2. Alexander Rossi, who had that on their betting odds this morning, the only Andretti Autosport driver in the Fast Six, alongside Felix Rosenqvist, who has been so strong in qualifying this year. Joseph Newgarden and Romain Grosjean were the two that were the closest to making it into the Fast Six, but were unable to. Romain Grosjean is due for a victory for sure. Newgarden's won the last 2. Graham Rahal and Colton Herta. Herta, one of the fastest drivers all weekend long, but ultimately a red flag caused by Marcus Ericsson, who starts in row 6, dashed those hopes. And Callum Ilott, who has been so quick this weekend, he was fastest in the final practice session. Christian Lundgaard and Scott Dixon. Dixon has been not qualifying very well this year, but he's raced a lot better. Look for him to move up tomorrow. Jack Harvey in 15th, Helio Castroneves in 16th. Takuma Sato and Dave Malukas there in an all-Dale coin racing row 9. Will Power in the back of the field bounced in Q1 alongside Devlin DeFrancesco. Kyle Kirkwood alongside Connor Daly claiming row number 11 for the United States. Dalton Kellett alongside of Simon Pagenaud in 24th position. And the final row, unfortunately, we've kind of come to expect this at this point. Tatiana Calderon on the inside and Jimmy the Juggernaut Johnson on the outside. And to make matters worse for Tatiana Calderon, she crashed in the final practice, which happened, well, in my time, about 30 minutes ago. She seemed to be okay. I don't think there's any real expectation that she's not. So I would expect that the A.J. Foyt racing car will be ready to go for tomorrow. So the big story tomorrow is going to be whether or not it rains, because that is going to be totally dependent on whether or not we have an exciting race or a potentially not so exciting race. It sounds like there are two things that are kind of a general consensus throughout the field when speaking to the drivers. It's that it's going to be very tough, if not impossible, to pass tomorrow. And number 2, it sounds like it's going to be more or less a hard and fast 2-stop race. Firestone has a new, harder tire compound for both the black and red wall side tires. And because of this, it seems like the stint lengths are going to match the fuel stints. And so it doesn't really lend itself to an exciting strategy. That changes, of course, if it rains tomorrow, even for a little bit. If the rain tires have to come out, and some of those rain tires, as Pato O'Ward said in the press conference, have been sitting in the Firestone trucks for 2 years, those tires are not going to be optimized. So when you look at tomorrow, I think if you are looking for an exciting race and hoping for an exciting race, you're crossing your fingers, your toes, everything you can cross, that it will rain. if it doesn't rain, I think the race becomes much more straightforward. And that is that I think Rinus VeeKay is going to run away with this thing if it's dry. I spoke to him right before qualifying. I kept trying to get it out of him that I was like, are you going to go pole? Are you going to go pole? Are you going to go pole? Because he had gone fast in the morning warm-up. But, of course, the morning warm-up, he was one of only a couple of drivers that ended up getting a clean, fast lap. And when I asked him about that, I said, was the pace legit? And he said, yeah, it was legit, pretty legit. And ultimately, yeah, it was legit. He got the pole. And I think you're going to see, it again, if it's dry, you're going to see a very similar kind of Indy GP performance from Rinus VeeKay. And then, of course, you start looking down the line and thinking about how strong Rinus VeeKay is at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, both on the road course and, of course, at the Indianapolis 500. He was on the front row last year and told us he didn't have enough horsepower. So if Chevy brings some horsepower, you might want to start thinking about Rinus VeeKay for the Indianapolis 500. But for tomorrow, it's going to be tough to beat him. It's going to be, again, it's kind of the Colton Herta syndrome, right? You're fast all weekend, but you have to finish the race. And that's going to be the challenge for Rinus VeeKay. If he can finish, I think he wins. If he has a mistake or falls back, I don't think he will. And that's not down to driving. I think that's simply down to how difficult it is going to be to pass tomorrow. But again, it won't be so difficult to pass if you have guys out there on wets, guys out there on reds, guys out there on blacks, and having to make those strategy calls in the race. I think that's what we're kind of hoping for if we're fans. If we're drivers, especially like Rinus VeeKay, we're maybe not hoping for that. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. Subscribe for more motorsport coverage, including my post-race coverage of the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama. Last time we did post-race coverage, we got some beef. We're going to try to find some grade A stuff tomorrow, in case there is, of course. We're not going to try to create drama because that isn't what we're about. But if we can find drama tomorrow, we're going to get it. And certainly we're going to have some great post-race interviews and post-race commentary. We'll see you in the next video.